Hello and welcome to this episode of the Web3 Talks. My name is Ornella and our special guest today is Mariya Spartalis. How are you?
Nice to meet you here. I'm great.
Thank you for joining me. So Mariya, you are a financial and banking expert. You've had a long career in the financial world in Switzerland, all over Europe. And now I wanted to talk to you today about this experience, but relating it to crypto and blockchain and maybe how these two worlds intersect.
Okay.
So let's start off with a little bit about your background.
All right.
And maybe how you found your way into, you mentioned you worked at Falcon, which is
it was the first crypto bank in Switzerland.
Exactly. So
this is actually the end of the trip.
Okay.
I would start with the beginning of the trip. I'm from Ukraine, from Kiev, and I moved to Austria around 25 years ago. I got a family there, kids, and I became a wealth manager, private banker in some Austrian banks. There were some national and international banks. I was growing my career from a manager of some desks for VIP clients, high net worth, ultra high net worth individual clients. And I was moving towards big international corporate banks like Credit Suisse, for example, where I've been servicing the same group of clients and their companies. Actually, my job was to come in the office, to go on the empty table with the new PC, switch it on, acquire these clients, book their assets, like consult them where to invest money, keep this money long term, make an appropriate analysis and appropriate transactions for them. And of course, we had huge departments behind us and huge institutions.
Right, okay. So in your time in this sphere, maybe what were could you maybe go into what the challenges were of the traditional banking world?
Yes.
Since you were in the nitty-gritty of it, what is something that, what are the issues or the challenges that I know crypto is now trying to solve?
Yeah, maybe I will tell a little bit about my experience in banking industry, because I think that the future is the history. So when I entered the banking world, there was the end of the bank secrecy in Europe. I started in Austria and later in Switzerland. And it was very interesting, challenging time when the clients even still had some number accounts in some countries, which meant that you would come just without having passport, just open some account, put some money, cash or something and save and keep it. So it was kind of the end of this time.
The banking secrecy time.
No, it was the first period of the end of the banking secrecy time. There were some hubs in Liechtenstein, Switzerland, where there were such a number accounts and anonymous accounts which were still there. So when I joined about 25 years, the traditional banking business, the rules have changed. And already some clients, and I was in charge of CIS, acquiring of CIS clients at the beginning, they were already much better checked, and they already in Austria started showing the passports, and we had to have some due diligence, for them. But nevertheless, it was everything was much more open and free.
Okay.
I can compare it with the freedom and openness now in the crypto world a little bit, because we have that would be the parallel. Because right now we already have some crypto platforms, we have crypto banks, we will come later to this story. But actually some customers can still randomly keep somewhere crypto, transfer money, put it somewhere, and the regulator doesn't know where is it, or maybe it knows where is it.
Right.
And the due diligence is done in the crypto banks, so it's assets which are kind of officially explained and due diligence is made on them, but there are some places where it's not.
Okay, so there was the evolution was a push for transparency in a way. That's also the ethos behind blockchain.
It was probably the second wave, beginning of transparency. After that was a very interesting fact in a classic private banking and banking world. It was the world of our grandparents, where they went with some suitcases, maybe sometimes to Switzerland, Liechtenstein after the Second World War, or Austria even. And they kept these assets there. So they thought that they're kind of tax-free, and they were released of not declaring these assets to the local governments or institutions. Later on, as we know, there were some stories with CDs, bankers who just give some CDs from the banks of Liechtenstein to the press, and there were big scandals, and these all assets and the list of customers were disclosed to the countries. There were such certain procedures made for them to pay tax, to pay penalties, and there were even in some newspapers in Europe the list of these businessmen worldwide, European-wide, who kept the money secretly by the banking secrecy and disclosed in such jurisdictions.
Okay.
So, but this was the beginning of my career and the end of the old world
so
of the secrecy.
Let's fast forward a bit to the 2008 financial crisis, because it was around that time that Satoshi Nakamoto created Bitcoin.
Exactly.
So do you think that that was in response to everything that you've said, to these challenges within the traditional finance system?
It's a very interesting, mysterious story, which always, which always admires me. I don't know if it was connected, but there were some interesting things happening in our banking world, because everything started being exactly in this period much more regulated.
Right.
And there was much more pressure from the governments and national banks on European banks and international banks to kind of disclose the banking secrecy. The clients in different countries, they had to report to the government and to the tax authorities about their assets, let's say in Switzerland, Austria, or elsewhere. I would suggest that it was more going on in Europe, but probably in USA it was too. Anyway, by these changes of the regulation and requirements to the client, suddenly our hero appeared and the whole story appeared.
Our hero.
Yes. So we are, of course, very excited how it will go. Maybe we will judge in the future from the history. Anyway, just telling about crypto industry and crypto banks. When I, after all these wave of information exchange, many banks started to suffer financially.
Yes.
Because many countries start having some kind of amnesties, because I was in charge of Eastern European countries, there were some amnesties in Kazakhstan, in Russia, and these amnesties didn't go yet to Ukraine, but which means that the clients were obliged to give all information to the tax authority in their country.
Right.
So they actually had no sense to stay anymore in Credit Suisse or some other Austrian or Swiss banks. They just left home. They declare the money and they pay the penalty and say, we go home. Anyone who stay in Europe or anywhere else stay there.
Okay.
But it was not anymore a banking secrecy story. So the secrecy went into the crypto world, and it started being a very exciting third wave about that, because everything else, kind of banking system in Europe internationally start being de-offshorized. All banks, let's say, went home. The British banks went to Britain, Swiss banks went to Switzerland. They didn't want to have branches anymore.
I see.
Yes, so the crypto, the regulators and the countries start thinking how to manage it with crypto, and
And do you think that this is a good thing, like a positive evolution and change? Should the financial system and the banking system embrace crypto, such as BlackRock, which is now a large institution, and it's now filing for Bitcoin and Ethereum ETFs?
Look, each evolution is positive, but each evolution has a birth, the blossom, and the death. So we are speaking in financial business. We're like doctors. We're speaking about circles, and we see each circles are positive. Our job is just identify the time, the financial situation we are, and of course banking opportunities we can offer to our clients, and use this time for having some benefits and profits for them. That's why the crypto evolution and revolution has definitely positive impact. And it brought many countries and also companies and maybe some physical persons much profit and much advantage.
Yes.
But I would also say, as a banker, that they also brought some disadvantages. Because, as I told you, we are, as professionals, we are measuring always profit and loss and the risks. The main focus is risk. So if you're in crypto, you have to be ready for the challenges.
Right. And there's so many scams and frauds. And personally, I think that with what I'm hearing is that the bull run is soon approaching. Exactly. And so with the bull run, there will be, yes, maybe more profits, more risks, but then more fraud, more scams. So how do you think one can prepare for that?
I think that the government's already on the way of preparation. As I told you, I had an experience myself being a director of the crypto bank in Switzerland. As a manager, I could see and work with my clients, having all procedures and security ways how to make this business kind of secure and not scammed.
Okay.
But you earn less, you pay more tax. And there is no free lunch.
No free lunch.
Exactly. So you have to understand and realize that the more it's like,
everything has a price.
Right? Everything is a price. You are from US, and I think that by the establishment of US, they were the gold diggers. They also had some challenges to be rich or to die. The same is in the now-time world. The more it will be regulated, the more it will be secure, the more it will be unprofitable and maybe not interesting for some opportunistic deals. Yes. It will be less casino, but more stable.
Well, I think things should be heading in that direction. Personally.
It depends.
Less speculation, right? And more like use cases, more impact, like you said.
For sure, I'm thinking that international world governments are working on that. Of course, businessmen and entrepreneurs and companies, they want to have less tax, more space, more freedom, and this there should be again the balance between the government's. The government's efforts to make everything regulated and stable for everyone, to avoid frauds and crimes, and at the same time give the population of the earth the opportunity to earn money.
Yes.
To avoid such situations like happen with our grandfathers, fathers, and some people in the classical banking world story, which I told you about, where people just pay penalties, tax, because something is first allowed and then 30, 40 years later not allowed.
When you say opportunity, do you mean the opportunity to be financially free? Like to have more financial freedom?
I think financial freedom I see as a financial transparency. So generally we are fighting as a bankers and financial experts against any kind of fraud, and it's clear. But I think freedom can be just maybe like more technologies. If we, let's say, for example, there is a war in Ukraine, and it's, I come from this country, and many people were escaping or suffering. Or there is something like some emergency in the world. If we would use a classical banking system, it would not allow us to transfer money so fast, to save assets. After the Second World War, people buy gold bullion or something else which was heavy and not transportable. This is the freedom to be flexible.
Okay. But to have more options,
to have more options,
more convenience.
Exactly. But don't be criminal.
Right. Don't be a criminal. All right. And so you mentioned that there's other sectors or industries that you feel blockchain and Web3 technology can impact, in addition to, of course, the financial sector. So which sectors were you referring to?
Actually, I was amazed when I moved to Zurich, business-wise, when I was at all blockchain congresses, and when I heard different speeches of some important people from Swiss and international governments, I understood how important will be the role of the blockchain in this world. And it was kind of 3-4 years ago, before COVID arrived.
Okay.
Yes, and now we understand how important, even in such uncertain times of epidemics and wars, to make a blockchainization of different processes. Of course, it can be in different industry. It can be in pharmaceutical industry. It can be cinema industry. It can touch actually each industry and area of our life. It just will make everything more transparent and faster.
Okay.
And will allow people to avoid a lot of expenses, problems, and some organizational issues.
All right. So cinema, you mean like funding and financing, producing projects, films?
For sure, there can be many aspects which will allow cinema industry use blockchain technology, as you mentioned. To make it how to say more complete and more modern.
Okay, and do you have maybe any examples of that, the projects that you know or have worked with?
Right now, I don't have away a blockchain examples because I'm more working with some producers and some, let's say, innovators in maybe artificial intelligence area. Okay. Which are connected with cinema and with some metaverse cinema projects.
Oh, can you talk a little bit more about that? That sounds exciting.
Sure. It's very exciting for me because I always wanted to be a speaker, moderator, and a Hollywood star. That's why I become a banker.
Yeah, it's a little different.
Yes, but this area and artist touch my soul and my heart. And there are some amazing projects which I will disclose you a little bit later.
Okay.
But I just want to say how they work. It's incredible because actually with artificial intellect and virtual reality, the actors or singers they go and interact in our room.
It feels like they're there.
Yes, yeah. And these projects are already there. They are incredible. It's like a space project, and what amazed me that you can create clones of Hollywood stars or any other movie stars or maybe singers. We don't speak today maybe about the copyright and the rights for this clones, but
Did you watch the Black Mirror episode?
No, I prefer not to watch bad episode. I'm very positive.
It's about that.
But you know what I found very positive about that, because I think always that each evolution has a lot of negative aspects, and we can speak in your next program about negative or positive ones. But I keep positive ones. So, for example, imagine that Michael Jackson is dead. And so many generations loved him, and I have some children who are quite younger and they don't know him.
Right.
So we can put Justin Bieber and Michael Jackson and some new star on the stage, singing and dancing together.
But virtually.
They can combine these technologies. They combine a real singer and the virtual one, and the dead one. So we can somehow combine the whole generations and the eras.
Okay.
And it's going to be very amazing. I can share with you in next our interviews a lot of interesting things about that.
That's a way to keep people alive, to be immortal in a way. Do you think that's a good thing?
I think that it's very interesting I always think positive, as I told you. I'm a positive fairy, so I think that it's very nice if we would be very nice even for us, much more educational, if you would have any heroes from old Roman Empire or ancient Greece who would speak in the room and tell us as kids how it happened.
Okay.
So let's take the challenge not from the bad side, but I hope that this world will take the positive experiences and the positive sides, and we'll move all these technologies to the positive ways.
Now you say that, it makes me want to ask you, who which historical figures maybe are you referring to? Is there someone that you would go back in time to meet?
I love some about historical, maybe Cleopatra. She's quite amazing.
Okay.
She was a very amazing lady from the, very ancient country, which was one of the first world, beginning of the world countries. And I like charming ladies, seducing ones and smart ones.
Would you introduce blockchain to her?
Why not?
Why not?
Next time I can appear in her face and can introduce in her face connect the blockchain and Cleopatra.
Okay. And do you think that we'll ever get to a fully enabled blockchain world with mixed reality?
For sure.
Yeah?
I totally believe in that.
Okay, so what's it going to take to get there?
Well, first of all, time. It's just a matter of time. I think that some technologies, like what I speak about you, like this all artificial intellect episodes in cinema, so they were already created 10 years ago or before. So I think that the world goes over its evolution. The things happening. People have the globe has to be prepared for these changes.
Yes.
And just accept it and embrace it.
Embrace
and
the change.
And don't be afraid of it, because if the child is born, he is maybe, he's scared what is the world. But I would embrace the challenges and see it in positive way.
Amazing. So any advice, any last words that you'd like to share with our audience?
The last words I want to speak about positivity. Thinking positive about peace in this world. I wish everyone that all wars will finish soon, and hopefully by next year we will move in the new world with the new positive changes, and there will be no illnesses, no epidemics, no wars anymore, but just happy people.
I love that ideal thinking, an ideal world.
Thank you.
We are going into a new world.
Absolutely, with the crypto, blockchain, metaverse, artificial intellect, and positive people.
All right. Well, thank you so much for your time, Mariya.
Thank you. It was delighted to talk to you.
And everyone, thank you for tuning in to this episode of Web3 Talks. Make sure to check out other episodes in this series. And until next time, my name is Ornella Hernandez. See you later, guys.
Bye.